Hello everyone. So let us start today's lecture on black body spectrum by simple question. So my question is that we know stars. We know that stars are very far from us. Some are few light year away from us. Some are 100 light year away from us. Some are million light year away from us, and some are billion light years away from us. But whatever distance of the star from Earth, we know the temperature of the star, we know the content of the star, what the star made up of, we know the radius or diameter of the star, and we know also the distance of the star. How we know all such information? Because we can't go to the star and take temperature meter, thermometer, and test the temperature. We can't do that. So how all this information, from where this all information came from? So the question may seem difficult to you, but the answer is very simple. And the answer is light. The star emits light, and that light is analyzed by us through our instruments. And by analyzing the light emitted by the stars, we got all this information: temperature, radius, distance, and the content. So by light here, I doesn't mean only the visible light, the light that we can see through our eyes, but here light means all the electromagnetic waves. So the stars emit uh, gamma rays, X rays, radio waves, microwaves, and by analyzing all these waves, we can get information about the stars. So let us study firstly electromagnetic spectrum, give you small hints. So this is your electromagnetic spectrum. We have radio wave, we have infrared, we have visible light, we have ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays. Gamma rays have very short wavelength, and radio wave has very high wavelength. Stars emit spectrum light in all these wavelengths, and by analyzing those lights we get information about the stars. So next slide. So before moving further, let us discuss about what is light spectrum. So suppose there is a source here. There is a source here, and the source is sending light, and we are following that light on the prism, and the prism is dividing that light into the seven colors. Here are the seven colors: Vibgyor. And if we make the graph, see, the red light has different intensity, yellow will have different intensity, this blue will have different intensity, all colors will have different intensity. So color mean wavelength. So if I make the graph between the wavelength and intensity of the light that star or a source emit, we call this graph as a light spectrum. We call this as a light spectrum. Here I have taken the picture of the light spectrum of the yellow, our ordinary bulb, and the bulb is emitting light. And see, you can see here in x-axis we have wavelength, here we have intensity. So see, here the bulb is emitting blue light, and it has blue light here. The as the wavelength in this region there is a blue light, then we have a green light here, then we have yellow light, and intensity is getting reduced as we going toward the both ends. So this is a particular spectrum of the bulb. Different sources have different spectrum, and this spectrum normally depend upon the temperature. And number one, temperature. Number two is the nature of body. But see, the interesting thing is that for there is particular kind of bodies for which this temperature, this depend only on the temperature, and that special type of bodies are called as black bodies. So next slide. Next slide. So we have black body. So what is black body? So black body is an idealized body that absorbs EM radiation, uh, all kind of EM radiation that falls on it, and at constant temperature, it will emit all type of radiation that fall on it. So the characteristic thing about black body is that black body, the light that black body emit depend only on the temperature of the black body. It does not depend upon the on the nature of the black body. And here I have made the graph of the wavelength. This is lambda is wavelength and intensity of the black body. And here I is intensity, h is Planck constant, c is also constant, speed of light, lambda is wavelength, and here all are constant except this lambda and this T temperature. So here you can see that the spectrum of the black body depend only on the temperature, not on the nature of the black body. So this fact that the black body's spectrum depend only on the temperature is used for measuring the temperature of the stars. So let me go to the next slide. So here is black body spectrum, that the black body spectrum. Here you can see, which looks like something like a Gaussian curve. Here you can see at 300 Kelvin we have peak here, and as we go toward the higher wavelength or lower wavelength, the intensity is decreasing, and also as the temperature is as getting higher, the peak is getting higher and the area is also getting higher. At 500 Kelvin you can see the graph, the spectrum will be like this, and we have peak here and the intensity will reduce at both ends. At 6000 Kelvin we have the peak here, and you can see that peak is shifting toward the lower and lower wavelength as the temperature is increasing. So this is about the spectrum of the black body. And the interesting thing is that stars behave like a black body, and approximately at least. And by comparing the spectrum of the star with the black body, we can know the information about the temperature of the star. For example, suppose the biggest star, Betelgeuse, we are getting light, and we will draw the spectrum of that star and we will compare at which temperature this spectrum is matching with the black body, and by that matching we can know the temperature of the star. So I have drawn here the I have drawn here the temperature of the black body, the spectrum of the sun, and here you can see the sun spectrum and the thermal, that black body spectrum. So this green is the black body spectrum, and here this wiggling spectrum is of the sun spectrum. And you can see at 5777 Kelvin, this spectrum is the spectrum, that 577 black body spectrum at this temperature is matching with the spectrum of the sun. So it means that the temperature of the sun is 577 Kelvin, at least the surface temperature. And you can also see it is not perfectly matching, but there are wiggles, there are kinkles here, and this kinkles tells us about the content of the star. So by comparing these kinkles with the spectrum of the elements, we get what is the content of the star, and we know we can know by this the contents of the star. So let us go to the next slide. So by previous steps, we can know the temperature of the star. So now we can classify the stars according to their temperatures. So stars are 7 types according to their temperature and their colors. So they are O, B, W, F, G, K, and M. So these blue stars have temperature greater than 30,000 Kelvin, and similarly we have for blue, white, we have white, and we have for orange, red star. So for remembering this table or the type of stars, I have a small mnemonic, and this is O, be a fine guy or girl, kiss me. And here we have O, B, A, and F, G, K, and M. By remembering the first letter of this sentences, we can know we can remember this stuff. So there is by the temperature of the stars and the intensity that we can draw a diagram, and that is called an HR diagram. And this diagram is like a periodic table of the chemistry. So here we have main diagonal. Here we have main diagonal, and in y-axis we have drawn luminosity. In x-axis we have surface temperature, and so we have here main sequence stars and main sequence stars. And for main sequence you can see that as here we have higher luminosity, and here we have lower luminosity, the temperature is decreasing here. So for main sequence, luminosity and temperature both is low, and for here luminosity and temperature is both high. These blue color stars means high temperature, red color means low temperature. Blue stars in the main sequence are bigger, and the red stars in the main sequence are smaller, as they have to emit emit less light. And this is like periodic table. And by studying the stars we can also know the history, the life cycle of the stars. So we will study this HR diagram later in detail. So thank you very much.